Starting now. So I am pleased to introduce Aviva Gutnick. Aviva Gutnick is the Education and Outreach Editor at Berman House. Aviva develops and helps deliver engaging print and digital Jewish learning materials for both children and adults, and works closely with our professional educator colleagues. She has a master's in education from New York University with a focus on educational technology, and I am delighted to have her as a work neighbor in Milburn, New Jersey. Aviva, thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Welcome, everyone. I'm really happy to be with you today. I hope you've been all enjoying this month-long NewCAJE conference that's coming to an end, and I appreciate you sticking it out to the last few days to join us today. Over the past few months, my Berman House colleagues and I have been really so impressed by the energy and dedication that so many of you and other Jewish educators have put into turning from in-person learning to online models this past spring, and really like on a dime. I mean, you flip pretty quickly, and it's really wonderful to see that energy. It seems likely that remote learning will be part of the mix at some point this coming school year too. We know many educators are trying to plan for this fall, even as there's still so many unknowns. So we at Berman House want to help you safeguard your curriculum and your learning goals, no matter where the learning is going to take place. We know, because we've been hearing from you and talking with you and other educators for months, that your primary goal is maintaining connection with your students. So what we've done is create enhanced digital versions of many of our most popular Judaics and Hebrew materials that you may already know and are comfortable with. These are materials on Bible, holidays, values, and Israel, plus a variety of Hebrew materials. There are a total of about 40 titles. Today, we're going to focus on Judaics turn-page materials, which we have enhanced with teacher support for using these materials on Zoom or other video conference platforms. The purpose of these on-screen digital versions is to give you flexibility in what you choose to use and to make it easier for you to plan, and if necessary, to transition easily from remote learning to in-person and back, whatever combination awaits us this fall and this coming school year. If you're already using our materials that you're comfortable with, you don't have to remake your curriculum. I can't say this enough. To engage in remote learning, your goal, therefore, is to connect through content. You don't have to remake your curriculum. Our Judaics materials, by design, have activities embedded in them that are rich and also translate really well to a remote environment, so that you can concentrate on keeping students engaged and building that connection no matter where they're learning. Let's take a look together at an example of what these digital turn-page materials for remote learning look like. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. As you can see, we are on the Berman House website. What you're looking at is Make, Create, Celebrate Jewish Holidays Through Art. And I'm using this as an example of what these turn-page materials look like. This particular title is designed for students ages 10 through 12, and this is a turn-page version that you can share on screen with students who are learning at home. Each of the turn-page versions is an exact duplicate of the physical book. It's a replica with the same page numbers and everything. In just a minute, I'm going to show you how to use it on Zoom. I just want to show you what you're seeing here on screen. Each of the Judaics titles in the turn-page version has its own short, unique teacher guide. And you can see there's a little icon at the bottom that says Teacher PDF. This has tips and techniques for using this specific material on Zoom or other video conference platforms, whatever you're using. It's designed to give you ideas for how to use all of the lessons in the book. Let me show you what it looks like real quick. So I'll scroll quickly. You'll see that we provide 5 general tips for using these materials for remote learning, talking about sharing your screen, how to use breakout rooms, etc. This is separate from, let me go back, this downloadable teacher PDF is separate from the actual printed teacher guide or lesson plan manual that is created as a companion to the content. So for all of our Judaics materials, we have teacher guides or lesson plan manual, depending on what the material is. This is separate. This is really designed to give you some ideas and some inspiration for teaching this material online. Next to the teacher PDF icon is another one, and I know it's a little hard to see this blue thing. It says student printables. These are select pages from each lesson or chapter that students can use between sessions if they don't have their physical book with them. It gives them something hands-on to do. Let's see what it looks like. It's a little slow in loading. I apologize. There's a table of contents, and the images are a little slow in loading, but there's one page per lesson or per chapter. Here it goes. And this is what it looks like. A few things for them to do between sessions. What I want to do is let's enter full screen so that you can get a really close-up look. This is what the turn page book looks like. These arrows here, you can go front and back. You can flip through, you can choose from this little box on top, you can go to a specific page number, and the page numbers are exactly the same as the physical book. You can zoom in, you can drag to move around if you want to get up close and see something. As I share my screen, I'm going to use the annotate tool in Zoom to, oops, I picked the wrong thing, to, there we go, to circle or underline specific words or section that I might want to highlight. You can zoom in or out. These are all part of the annotate functions on Zoom. And you can't see them because I'm sharing my screen. That's visible for the person who has the controls sharing their screen. You can even give kids a gold star if you want. That's another one of the functions. So we can give lots of stars depending on what, whatever you're looking at, or if you want them to read something or do a particular activity. So as I mentioned, our Judaics materials have activities embedded in them that translate well to a remote environment. A lot of the pages have visual organizers. They're already available. And as you see, this is just one example. They're already rich with activities. It's just baked in and built in to the material itself. Julie, we're gonna have plenty of time for questions later, but Julie, I just want to know if there's anything that you're seeing in chat that we need to tackle before I get into some activities.
No, go right ahead.
Okay, great. So let's look at examples of how you might use this turn page version with your students. So let's say we're learning about the holidays. All of our Judaics materials have photos or images. What we're going to do now is a response activity that you can use to engage kids. Let's zoom in. Okay. This is, and this is really just by way of example. All of our Judaics materials have photos and images, and so this is just a model of a type of activity that that you could do in a Zoom or remote environment. What we're looking at here on the screen, this is a painting by Marc Chagall, and I'd like us to look at it. We're going to do a routine called See, Think, Wonder. I don't know if any of you are familiar with it. It was developed by Harvard's Project Zero. And I'm going to ask you, and you can either respond in chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. I want to ask you, what do you see? So for example, I see a sheep. I see buildings, for example. What do you see? I'd like you to type in either in chat, or you can unmute yourself to share your observations. What do you see in this painting? And Julie, if you could read out whatever you see in the chat box, please.
So fast, so fast. Tree, face, goat, man milking a cow, woman milking a cow, a green man and his horse friend, faces, goat, animals, houses, man offering flowers to a cow, tree, hand, green man with hat.
Wow.
Colors.
Yes. All of those things. It's so interesting. People see different things. So if you're working with a small group of students, they can call out their answers. For a larger group, you could have students unmute, kind of like what we're doing now, and ask them to either raise their hand or click, there's an online hand raise symbol, or type in. So let's do this again. We're going to look at this painting again, and I want you to tell me what you think might be happening in this painting. And Julie, if you get any responses, please just read them out. What do you think might be happening?
Scapegoat.
Ooh.
Village life. A man saying goodbye to his village.
Okay.
Connecting
Now,
to animals.
say that again?
Connecting to animals.
Connecting to animals. Okay. All right, now I'm going to ask you one last question about this one. What do you wonder about this painting? What questions do you have about it? So for example, I wonder why the face is green. I don't know if it's a man or a mask or a woman, but to me it looks like a face, and I wonder why the face is green.
Why is the woman upside down?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why there is a church and the man has a cross.
Uh-huh.
Are the cow and the man talking? They're doing farm work. What about tonight? Is a person shouting?
Oh.
Does the man love the cow? Well, that took a turn, didn't it?
I wasn't expecting that one.
Why the circles? Why
What?
does the animal have an eye that looks compassionate and the man has only the white of the eye?
Ooh, interesting observation. Lots of juicy questions. All right, I think you get the idea. So this is a self-portrait by Marc Chagall called I and the Village. Chagall divided the painting into different sections, and he put different things into each section. I'm not sure if you can see, but it's the picture is sort of divided into quadrants, like a diagonal going this way and a diagonal going this way, roughly. The green face with the hat is actually Chagall. That's how he depicted himself. And I think it'd be interesting to think about in what ways is his painted portrait different from a photo? And this is a rhetorical question. So for one, a photo would probably be more realistic. He probably wouldn't be green. The painting is more imaginative. And as long as there have been artists, they have sought ways to represent themselves in images. This is the concept of a selfie. It's not a new concept. This has been going on for a long time, these self-portraits. With students, you could take advantage of this video conference format that we're in, and you could run through this routine and show more of Chagall's work by sharing your screen. You could visit the online collections of the Jewish Museum, the Museum of Modern Art. Most of these museum collections are free and easily available for sharing, for viewing and for sharing. You could ask kids if they see any similarities or differences among the paintings and drawings. Now, so why are we looking at this in the context of holidays, right? It's a great routine, it's a beautiful painting. Remember, this is part of a lesson about holidays. So what's the connection? Rosh Hashanah is a time of accounting, of looking at who we are. And a self-portrait is a way to think about personal values, to imagine who we are, and to reflect on what's important to us. This would be the time to invite your students to create their own selfies based on Chagall's work, using their own art supplies like markers or crayons or colored pencils, whatever they have at home. Each student will have a physical book, so you can send them off. If you see on the following page, there's a template modeled after this photo here, this image here. You could send them off to work on the template on the next page for a few minutes, or if you want to give them more time, they could do it for the next session. And after they've done their self-portraits, you can invite them to share their work with the larger group by holding up their art piece. After the share, maybe you would then lead a discussion about how knowing who we are is important to who we can aspire to be. And that is the point of Teshuvah, becoming our best selves. This is one example from Make, Create, Celebrate. You could do this see, think, wonder response activity, maybe not with the selfies and the art piece of it, but this response activity for any other materials about the holidays that have images or photos. Photo responses or art responses, they're ideal if you're teaching a multi-age class, because students can respond to their images at their own level of comprehension. There's no right or wrong. It's really, what do you see? What do you think? What do you wonder? And those wonderings lead to all kinds of questions and insights. For example, if you are teaching, let's say, younger students, and you're using Let's Discover the Holidays, you might, let me see if I can zoom in here, you might show a photo from the Sukkot folder. Let's Discover the Holidays is a series of 4-page folders for grades K to 2. And maybe you would show this photo from Sukkot and ask questions like, what decorations do you see? What do you think the sukkah in the picture is made out of? How is a sukkah similar or different from a clubhouse? Just an example of how you could do it as a photo, as opposed to the painting that we just looked at. I mentioned this earlier, and I want to remind you again that all of our Judaics materials are chock full of engaging activities. It's just baked in. So what that means is that almost all the lessons in the books translate pretty easily to remote learning. I want to give you another example. This is also from the Let's Discover series. Let's Discover Kindness, which is for grades 1 and 2. And let's say you want to introduce, let's get out of here. This is this series called Let's Discover Kindness, also a series of folders. Let's say you want to introduce some mindfulness techniques to your students. You can take advantage of this digital environment that we're in a way that you might not be able to if you're in person physically because of limits on technology or what have you, the way your classrooms are set up. So we're going to do another activity, and we're going to begin by showing a peaceful, soothing video as you share your screen, as I share my screen, and you would do this as you shared your screen with students. I'm going to ask you to watch the video and focus on your breath. I'll give you just a few minutes, really a few seconds, to settle in to the moment. And just focus on your breath. Okay. Now, indulge me. Close your eyes. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Wrap your arms around yourself and imagine that you're hugging someone you know. Send that person a wish, such as, have a happy day, or I hope you feel healthy. Now open your eyes when you're ready. This was an activity from the first folder of Let's Discover Kindness. This mindful moment that's right here in the beginning. There are more mindfulness activities throughout the kindness folders that connect to the larger lessons, and you can easily do those with your students online. Another example of how to use the turn page materials with your students. So remember, you've got all eyes on the screen. The kids have their books in hand and they're looking at you or whatever you're sharing on the screen. So another way to translate the activities that are already in the materials to remote learning is through movement. We're going to dance. Well, if you want, you can dance to something. Let me show you what I mean. So in the folder on respect, there is an activity called Stand Up, and it asks you to play Respect by Aretha Franklin. So now that we're in a remote environment, it's really easy to just click on the YouTube video of her singing this song. Click it I'm going to click it for us, you click it for your students, and have a mini dance session. And if you're teaching students of all ages, this isn't just for younger students, this is going to be fun for everyone. All right, you get the idea. Doesn't she look how young she looks? It's amazing, isn't it? But a dance session with your students, play this, play it loud, play the whole thing. That gives students a chance to get up, to dance, to move around, and it's connected to the lesson about respect. Another dance idea from Let's Discover Kindness, and I'm sticking with this only because I happen to have it up. There are lots of other movement ideas from all of the Judaics materials. Is there's a folder on kindness, and it's a lesson about the golden rule. So it says treat people the way you would want them to treat you. There's a video of the world stands on 3 things. And I'm going to play that for you right now. It's beautiful. And I think it was filmed in Colombia. You see what they're doing with their hands? You get the idea. So what you could do is teach the hand motions and the song and invite students to do the movements along with the song. See how they're all, sort of standing in a choir formatting. You can make sure the students position themselves so that their hands are visible on the screen like this and not down here. And that way they can feel like they're performing the movements as a group. Lots of other movement ideas. These are just a few. You could easily do a scavenger hunt depending on what your lesson is about. And if it's something quick and easy, do it within the lesson. Let's say you're learning about Let me think. Something related to Israel, for example. I'm just, making this up, and you ask them to go find something blue. Send them off for, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever it is. Look around the room. Bring back something blue. If it's something that they might need a parent's help with, something a little more complicated, like, an object that's meaningful to their family, they could locate the item and share it during the next session, But there are lots of ways to build time and activity away from the screen into the lesson. These techniques that I briefly showed you, the mindfulness and the movement and the art responses, they're all available in this on-screen teacher guide that I showed you earlier in this PDF. So each of the turn page materials has its own unique teacher guide with ideas and activities. Before we turn, and that's down at the bottom of the sort of the home screen for all the turn page materials. It's always going to be in this location. Before we turn to questions, I want to show you where to find all the Judaics titles that are available in turn page version. So on, let's see, the Behrman House homepage, which is bermanhouse.com, there's a tab right across the top. It says New, Jewish Life and Learning, and Hebrew. Right under Jewish Life and Learning, right here at the top, it says Materials with Turn Page Access. And that brings up a list of all the titles that are currently available in turn page format. If you're interested in the Hebrew turn page materials, under Hebrew, this right at the top, Hebrew Turn Page Access, and that also brings up a directory of all the Hebrew titles that are available in this digital version. So what do you get? First, you purchase one per student, and what you get is a copy of the physical book plus access for a teacher to share the turn page version of that book on screen with that student. So for example, if you have 10 children in your class and you want Let's Discover Kindness, you get 10 copies of the book or the folder set, plus permission to share the turn page version with those students. Where do you access the turn page version? So you've made the requisite number of purchases for however many number of students you have. How do you get the turn page? Where do you see it? It's not a code. It's not a license. It's literally just a link that's accessible on the Behrman House page. So this is our home page here. You make sure that you are logged in to the account that you use to make the purchase. And I'm currently logged in, otherwise there would be it's a sign out, otherwise there would be a thing that says sign in. And right here it says account, and I click account. Wait, I'm logged in. All right, I'm logged in on this tab. And on the left here is a menu. This would be my account page with all of my information. And on the left, there's a menu here, and it says My Downloadable Products. And this brings up a list of all the items that you have purchased in turn page format. This is what I happen to have in my account at the moment. And you'll see, right, this one says Make, Create, Celebrate, turn page. This is Let's Discover Kindness. And right here it says link. And you click on the link, and it will bring up, I think that was Make, Create, Celebrate that I clicked. It will bring up the turn page version, this home page that we looked at before. This right here, that's the link. You give that link to the teacher or the madrichim or whoever's going to be teaching those, let's say 10 students that you purchased access for. There's no additional charge for teacher of that class or madrichim of that class. Students do not need access to this because it's something that the teachers are going to be sharing on their screen when they are working with their students. So students don't need an account or anything like that. I'm sure there are probably a lot of questions, and if you have questions, now would be a good time to start putting them into the chat box. And before we get to questions, I want to give out my email in case you have other questions that we're not going to be able to cover today, although I hope to be able to get to everything. We can also put it in the chat. Julie, maybe you can do that. It's Aviva, A-V-I-V-A, at bermanhouse.com. And let's see if I can do that myself.
Already done. All set, Aviva.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, Julie. You're quick.
Why they pay me the big bucks?
Say that again?
Why they pay me the big bucks?
Yes. So I would love to know what questions you all have.
So I think, as you said, you can take a look at the chat. Also, the first question was, what if they already have the books or have some extra copies of the books? And I answered, as Terry had last week, that you would work with them individually on needs to acquire whichever products they needed.
Yeah, I mean, if you have materials that you bought last year and you have leftover, or if you've already actually made your purchases for this coming fall and you want the turn page access, just get, you can get in touch with me. You can contact our customer support team, and we'll work with you to make sure you have just what you need.
Right, and then do you have a tutorial available like this session that I could share with teachers to help them with this?
Yes, and sort of yes. So this particular session today is being recorded. Hopefully that we will be able to get the recording from NewCAJE and share it with all of you on our YouTube channel. And if you we have a newsletter from our homepage, you can sign up to our weekly newsletter that we will be sharing recordings as well. We also have, and if you, I don't know if this question came from one or more people, but on our website, I'm going to bring it up and then share my screen with you. We have several videos that are tutorials. Bear with me a second, and I'm going to share my screen and show you where to find those. And also, if there's something that you particularly are interested in tutorial-wise that you're not seeing, get in touch with me, and I can share that with you, or we actually are considering whether to do more webinars in August or September, and so just hearing feedback from you about what would be useful to you would be really useful to us. So on our website, if you go to where it says click here, we have a page of professional development webinars that we have done. We've done several in June, and we've been doing several through July. And many of them are located here. They're all different flavors. Some of them are longer, some of them are shorter. There's one in particular up here, this first one. It's like a 5-minute basic walkthrough. What are the turn page materials? How does it work? Where do I find it? If you want some more in-depth tutorials with activity ideas or inspiration, there are several on here. Here's one that my colleague Terry Kay did with an education director, Mindy Schreff. I believe that was in June. I did one with another educator colleague recently. So we are posting several different professional development webinars and tutorials. We also have several up here about how to use Zoom. Not specifically about our turn page materials, but how to use Zoom in a really fun way. So there's great stuff on here. And if there's something in particular that you would find useful, let me know.
So we are a small enough group. I'm going to invite you just to unmute and go ahead and ask your questions on your own. Okay. So Miranda, I think you had a question that we didn't get to yet.
Thanks, Julie. So my question is, are you planning to add any other of your Judaic titles to this list?
If there's a specific title or book that you're interested in that you don't see on our list, let me know. Send me an email.
Okay.
Because we are keeping a list, okay. And we will consider it if there's enough interest in a particular title. What we created so far in Turn Page, whether it was Hebrew or Judaica, were many of the most popular titles, the things that people tend to use a lot. Obviously, it's not comprehensive. I mean, we have like 800 or 900 titles. There's no way we could do everything. But if there's something specific that you're looking for, let us know what you'd like to see.
Yeah, in 6th grade, and we've got a very big 6th grade coming in, for us big, 29 kids. We use Sacred Time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're thinking about how are we going to teach that to kids online. We're going to have to probably put hard copy into each person's hands. We've got to get those delivered to the kids. And then for us as teachers to teach it without having some kind of support of being able to flip it on, you know, on screen and that. So that was, that's my biggest book. And I don't know what a big seller that is. I happen to love that book very
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but honestly, send me an email. But also, if you wouldn't mind, just type it into the group chat, because we are going to get a transcript of this chat, and so that's
the book's called Sacred Time, right?
A record for, you know, for us to have a list of the requests that I will.
I mean, I love that series because it kind of puts things together in a different way than your other books do. But that's the one that we
like. I'm so glad you find it useful.
I use it a lot. I teach privately, and I use those books a lot with my private students. But this is the one that we use at the temple.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right.
So do we have your email address?
I believe it's in the chat, but I'll give it to you again. It's Aviva. That's AVIVA at bermanhouse, BEHRMAN. Thank you, Julie. bermanhouse, all one word.com.
Thank you. You may recognize that Terry and I come from the same country.
I love the accent. That's why Terry is the voice on our our out of office.
Right.
What other questions can I answer for you?
So every book that we buy comes with a link. Like if I buy one book, I'm gonna have the ability to access the book online. If I buy, okay.
Yeah.
If you buy the turn page option, just like with some of them, the online for Hineni games is an additional option. Just make sure you choose the right one from the website.
Right.
When ordering.
Thank you for clarifying. You could buy just the print book itself, but if you want the turn page access to be able to share it, then you buy the you would purchase the turn page access version. And
can I buy just that then? Can I buy just the turn?
No, it's not. It's not a replacement for the physical book. Yeah, it's designed to make it easier for teachers who are working with students remotely. And you know, the truth is, there's likely to be a lot of flux going back from, you know, at home to in person and some kind of mix. And so you're going to need the materials.
Yeah, and I use also the teacher guides for, you know, the Bible stories, so they're great.
Yeah, and the teacher guides are wonderful. I mean, they help they help you make best use of the material. The built-in teacher guide that I showed you, that downloadable PDF, that's an extra, and it's shorter. It's about 4 or 5 pages, but it has ideas and kind of inspiration for how to translate some of these activities into an online setting.
Okay. Just a note, you know, I watched the recording from the other webinar from, you know, Berman House. And when, I don't know how they're recording, but in the recorder, you're able just to see the people talking, the speaker, but nothing of the sharing.
Okay, we can, all right, I will make sure that we replace that version. So Zoom gives you multiple versions. Amy, you've been waiting. So you had a question, Amy?
Yes, I teach 3rd grade and I use 3 of your books. And I just found out that only one is available. So I'm checking out a comparable one. They're actually shipping it to me. But the one that I don't have, and I was wondering if maybe you have a different book and I don't know about it, is for Jewish holidays in 3rd grade. So you mentioned the one that art one, but it looks like it's from 10 and up. So 3rd grade's a little younger. Do you have a holiday book for?
We do. So for holidays, I'm looking at what we have. There's for the younger kids, the folder series, the Let's Discover. Let me share my screen. There's the Let's Discover Holidays, which is really for like K-2. There's also the Jewish Holiday Treasure Trail, which I don't know if you're familiar with, but that is perfect for 2nd grade, 3rd grade.
So I don't know if a different grade uses that book already. You know, each grade we use a lot of your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be, I mean, I'm going to write down the Jewish
Holiday Treasure Trail.
So but that's the only other holiday book?
Well, no, we have several other holiday books. These are the ones that are currently available in turnpage version.
This is the book that I usually use.
Yeah, My Jewish Year.
Yeah.
At the moment, we don't have that available in a turnpage, but like I said, if you want to send us a note or type it into the chat, we are keeping a list. There have been a number of titles that educators are looking for and requesting, and you know, I can't guarantee that we will or won't, you know, turn something into turnpage, but we are reassessing and, you know, based on what kind of requests are coming in.
I just don't know if we use this book because this is what we've been using, and that's what happened with the Bible book. We liked it, so we just never switched it, and then you came out with something new. So now I'm going to be trying a new book.
Right.
But,
so Amy, right. So that's a conversation with your director and for the school to make a decision. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and also, does the director put all the information, like what you were showing, how you get access? Does the director put the information onto the teacher's access, or?
So typically, I mean, it depends. I don't know how your school functions, but many schools, it's the education director or even an admin, whoever is actually purchasing materials, whoever purchases whatever materials you use during the year, they're going to make that purchase. And then after they've done that, they would go into their account and get the link, and they will share that link with, if it's a turn page, you know, title, they will share that link with the teachers or madrichim or tutors or whoever, you know, is the person who's going to be sharing their screen with students. So yes, you would get that from your, if you're a teacher, you would get that from your ed director.
Thank you. Ellen, are you waiting to ask a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question. I don't quite understand the pricing. This is from the viewpoint of teaching my grandchildren. If I buy a book, or if I buy the, what do you call it, the online, the
online, the turn page version?
The turn page version. If I buy a turn page version for them and 2 copies, you have to buy a hard copy. Is that correct? I don't quite.
If you want turn page access, it comes with 1 physical copy of the book.
Okay.
You could also just buy the book itself. You know, you don't have to, but if you are going to be sharing your screen with students or children, I don't know who you're teaching, then you need to buy the turn page, you know, the access to the turn page.
What I want to ask is, can you buy the turn page, which comes with 1 copy and an additional book? Is that from, you can buy that?
Well, how many students would you be, it depends on, look, it depends how many students you're going to be sharing it with. So the pricing and the way that we've conceived of this is that you're paying for permission to use the turn page version with a certain number of students. So you're buying based on how many people are viewing the turn page version, not how many people are showing it. So if you're one adult and let's say 5 kids, you're going to make 5 purchases because it's permission to share the digital version with those 5 children. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But what I was thinking about, or what I was interested in at the moment, was my grandchildren, which there's just 2 of them. So can you buy 2 books and permission to share with 2 children?
Yes, you would buy two of the turn page copies, and then you get two of the books it comes with.
Well, you buy 1 turn page. You said comes with a book, and then another copy, hard copy.
No, you're buying the permission to share the turn page with everyone for whom you have purchased a book. So.
Okay, I see. You have to buy the you have to buy the turn page for permission for everyone. See, I didn't ask that part.
Correct. And the way that we've priced it, it's the turn page version is priced at pretty much across the board $1 more than the print price.
Okay.
You know, it's not a huge gap. It's a little bit more. You know, but you get the book plus for $1 more, you get permission to share it on your screen.
All right, a couple more questions about specific products, and then Miranda will come back to you. So one asked about high curriculum, and one asked about Let's Discover Meets Vote. Those
Let's Discover Meets Vote is not currently available in Turn Page. The Let's Discovers that we have currently available are the Let's Discover Holidays, which is a set. It's the fall set and the spring set, and Let's Discover Kindness. But like I said, you know, we are keeping a list, and we're going to be evaluating all the requests in the coming few weeks, actually the next probably 2 weeks, because I know that, you know, the clock is ticking here. Chai is not currently available in Turn Page. I'm not sure what we're going to do with Chai. But again, you know, we will add it to our list of requests.
Okay, Miranda, thank you.
Okay, thanks. So at my temple, we use the prayer pamphlets that you did, where you did separate pamphlets for each prayer, as opposed to using the 3 Hineni books.
Oh, the prayer packets?
Because we found that we weren't teaching every prayer in the Hineni books, and we also wanted to mix them up in a slightly different way.
Right.
So I'm not sure how that's going to affect our Hebrew curriculum over the next, you know, over our 4th, 5th, and 6th grade because of that.
Well, so you're talking about the Hineni prayer packets?
Yeah, where we buy a Via Hafta packet and we buy an Avot for the, you know,
Yeah.
the import packet.
So what we've done for Hineni, we are not making the individual prayers available in Turn Page, but all 3 of the Hineni volumes are available in Turn Page version. So
if we if we only put in the hands of each of our children the 5 prayers that we're doing, which we would order in those separate prayer packets, then do we get permission to get a flip book that would have those in them that we can share on screen with the kids? That's an interesting.
I'm not actually sure. So why don't you send me a note separately, and I will follow up with you.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my educator. I'm going to talk to her about it. Maybe it's better if it comes from her and not from me. No, I'm not the educator. I'm one of the teachers.
That's fine. No, I understand. But just know that Hineni volumes 1, 2, and 3, they're all separate. They are available in Turn Page.
No, I understand that. It's just that we don't buy Hineni 1, 2, and 3 anymore. We buy the prayer packets, and we've done that for a number of years. And the first year that we did it, we also got permission to copy. I think we paid extra for like a binder that had copies that we could make if kids lost their originals. I don't know what happened to that piece of the program, but I remember that.
So Miranda, why don't you, whoever your
Her name is Yanira Quinones.
Okay. So why don't you have her get in touch with us with the request, and we'll discuss it with her.
I'll speak to her. Thanks so much.
Okay. Let me just scroll through. I see lots of requests for titles, which is great. We will put them on our list. Just want to make sure we covered all the questions. Directors do this. Okay. I think we got to all the questions. Is there anything else before we wrap up?
I have posted the evaluation link and the certificate code in the chat. If you have sessions that you have attended that you have not had a chance to take just a minute or 2 to go through and do the evaluations, you can just do them one after the other. As soon as you finish the first one, it says click here to submit another response. I'm a couple days behind myself, so I'll need to get caught up on that. Our Tisha B'Av Day of Learning tomorrow is free and open to the public. For security purposes, of course, we do ask everyone to register. I am posting the flyer in the link, but again, please share that with your communities. And we hope you will join us on Sunday from 1 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time for our closing day of the summer of NewCAJE. We will spend time together reflecting as well as looking forward before we finish the day with the Nefesh Mountain concert. And for those of you who didn't know, Donnie and Eric actually met at NewCAJE, so for them to come back and celebrate with us is always a treat. But we hope that you will join us for that. You have any other questions? The place to go is info@newcage.org, and Sydney will get back to you in moments. Mary asked, how does one view the exhibits? I'm not sure what exhibits you meant, Mary. Do you want to clarify? Mary still here? No. All right, then before too many other people leave, I will thank Aviva for sharing all of this with us on behalf of Berman House. And I know as a consumer that we are grateful that you have taken the step to make our lives just a little bit easier this fall.
Our pleasure.
Anything else before we close?
All
right, so call to all who are fasting. I'm sorry, Aviva.
Yes, I was just going to wish you all good luck with the planning and everything for this fall. It's definitely interesting times that we live in.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Just keep breathing, my friends. Goodbye.
Thank you.